right. Well, hello and welcome to Coffee Talk Tuesday. I'm Shalise and I'm here with the recently, you just had surgery, didn't you, Trip?
I just had a new hip put in on Monday, and it's Wednesday, and I'm sitting in the kind of nooch, and I'm sitting somewhere in the house. I don't know what we call it. But anyway, and it's nice to be here.
Well, it's nice to have you here, and you're a rock star coming on just 2 days after surgery. How you feeling? You feeling okay?
I'm feeling really good, and once every 3 hours or 4 hours, I feel a lot better. But anyway, we're going to get through it. And it is an amazingly small world when I got a chance to talk to our guests this week while you were having some tech issues and found out that we have a great charity that we both work with in common.
Awesome. Well, that being said, meet Emma Farr. Hi, Emma. How are you?
I'm doing well. Thank you for having me. How are you?
Well, now that I got my, I had to log off my computer, technical issues. We've been doing this every week for what, like 7 weeks now? Never one time have I had a problem. I'm going to blame it on like the energy or the full moon or something because it's coming and I can feel it. It's tweaking with my electronics.
Well, Emma, now that Shalise is a published author, she's treating the rest of us as kind of a lower class group,
Ever. That's so not true. But I am officially a published author now. So
congratulations.
That's awesome.
Yes, thank you. I am super excited, and but we'll talk about that in another show. But today, Emma, why don't you introduce yourself? Tell us a little bit about you and what you do and what you have in common with Trip.
Yeah, for sure. My name is Emma Farr. Obviously, we already covered that. But I work for Utah Food Services, which is the largest catering company in Utah, or was the largest catering company in Utah. But our connection, Trip and I's, is more with the Angel's Hands Foundation, which is an organization that my boss has really helped out for a really long time. Her daughter had special needs before she passed away. And that's kind of how she got involved with them, but now she's doing a lot of work with them. We actually sponsored, so Utah Food Services sponsored a competition through BYU to have them redo the Angel's Hands logo. So we came up with a lot of concepts for them, and they've been really fun to work with. We've worked with them really closely for, probably like 20 years. No, maybe longer. I don't know. Kate has known their family for a really, really long time. So, yeah.
Well,
and Shalise knows of Angel's Hands from hanging around, and it's an amazing group. And Emma, we're lucky enough to do a show with John Absey, who played the bear for 25 years, and Randall Carlisle called Working for Charities, where we get to meet smaller charities like Mark's or Mascot Miracles or some of the other great charities. And that's how Shalise was amazing that we got a chance to meet her, because individuals can do something in Utah that's, in other places in the country, maybe you have to get a big group together, but one person can make a big difference. And if that person has dedication, can grow their organization and really affect a lot of people. And that's one of the cool things about the state of Utah. And Shalise does the same thing.
That's awesome.
That's why I wanted to have you on, Emma, because of just some of the things we talked about and how you have your hands in a couple of different charities or nonprofits and really want to help make a difference. And I was super impressed. So yeah. So tell us a little bit about what is the Angel's Hand. It's called Angel's
Hands,
right?
Foundation.
Angel's Hands Foundation. So what do they do? Who are they?
So the Angel's Hands Foundation, I can't take a lot of credit for that one. All the help that Utah Food Services has done for them. My boss, Kate Sullivan, has been mostly the one who works with them. She does so much. She's all over the place. But Angel's Hands Foundation is a nonprofit organization that provides a lot of help and different services to families who have a family member with rare diseases, special needs, that kind of situation. They give them access to different resources, different activities, and really just help improve the quality of life for not only the people who have the rare diseases, but their families as well. And it's actually really, really cool organization. I have had the opportunity to volunteer for them a couple of times. And I'm just amazed at all of the work that they do and all of the support that they provide to families that they wouldn't otherwise have.
That's awesome.
And Shalise, one of the really cool things about Angels Hands is it's all volunteer driven. They, of all the money raised, maybe a couple of percent actually go to insurance for the events they do, but they've got no staff, Mark Christensen, his lovely wife and their daughters and some other amazing people have done this for coming on 20 years. And it is really an example of one person. They lost their son to a rare disease and found out that if your child has cancer, there's a lot of people out there to help. But if you have a rare disease, it's a very difficult circumstance. And as Emma said, the hard thing is sometimes for the rest of your kids, because
right.
all that effort of the parents is going into the one child with a disease, and the rest of the kids have trouble. And so Angels Hands does a lot of cool events and tries to help the whole family out. And if it's paying for a van delivery, a van so the kids can get around comfortably, to anything else. And so it's an amazing organization. And I'm very proud to know Mark and play hockey with him.
Yeah, that's one of the things that I strive for with as I grow Rainy Days, because that's what we're doing for the heart community is helping improve the quality of life for their families mostly, and making sure that they have those memorable moments, making sure that they don't feel alone and that there's a community around them. So
that's really
cool. Yeah. So Emma, what else? So you did work, or you still work a lot for the food services?
So recently, Utah Food Services lost the contract for the Salt Palace Convention Center, which was 96% of our business. And so after that, they were trying to, rebuild things. And then unfortunately, COVID happened and made things a lot worse. And so they started laying people off. And so the part that's really, really sad to me about that is not, obviously the 350 coworkers that I have that lost their jobs, but also the numerous nonprofit organizations that Utah Food Services used to donate to, support. They used to do like 6-figure donations yearly to different nonprofits in the area. And it was just because it was the right thing to do, not because they had a budget to do it. Like if people would come to us and ask for help, they would almost never say no. They always found a way to help. They did actually Angels Hands Foundation's gala every year and did a lot of donations for that. Humane Society of Utah, Utah Rivers Council, Utah Recycling Alliance, just to name a few. We would be here all day if I named all of the people that they helped. Yeah, it's really, I'm really sad to see Utah Food Services go. It was, yeah.
Do you think that they can make a comeback?
I hope so. I hope that they can. As of right now, I don't know that they see a really clear path on how to do it. I mean, losing that contract to, like a big Sodexo, who's like a conglomerate, was a really big hit. And I think that it's going to be a really big hit to the community as well, just because of all of this local support that's going to go away. But
and was it, Emma, it was a national company that came in and took the business?
Yeah, so it's a company based out of France that came in to take it.
And so, not to get into the weeds here, but don't you think that a local company that does hundreds of thousands of dollars of impact to local charities should get preference over a company from France?
Yeah, yeah. I think yeah, there's a lot of things that stung about that. I mean, the first time that they put out the request for proposal, they didn't really have it all together. They didn't really know what they were asking for. And so we put out our proposal. They initially awarded it to us. And then our competition started, like saying it wasn't fair or whatever. And so they had to redo the bid. And then the second bid, they took it away. So it was kind of heartbreaking, but I'm really, really rooting for Utah Food Services. I'm hoping that they can land on their feet and figure out a way to adapt to the situation.
Gosh, that 97% of your business, and it sounds like something weird went on at Salt Lake County. Whoever awards that bid, I should say, it's something weird.
Yeah, there were some shady things. I mean, our contract got shown to all of our competition, so I'm a little bit bitter about it because I didn't feel like it was very fair of a process. But so our competition had access to our bid, which myself and Kate Sullivan were mostly the team putting the bid together, so we don't have a huge team of people putting the bid together. And we did win the first time, but after they got a hold of our bid and could see all of our information, I feel like we almost didn't stand a chance. So, but
that someone in the media needs to do some digging into that.
Yeah, I think that due to COVID, it kind of got pushed under the rug. And so people aren't really, like that's kind of the bigger story. So people aren't really talking about it, but yeah.
Okay, well, we'll get, Shalise is a published author, so we'll get her working on it, and you'll dig up all the dirt.
I do have some connections in the media, so.
Good to know.
Well, and that is terrible, and that's devastating because we want to support our local businesses and our local nonprofits in our community, and it's people from our community trying to help our community, and when that gets taken away from us, that's a hit on everyone around.
Well, Shalise, and the other big point is the French don't shower, so why should the French be making our food at games and events? I mean, come on, this is kind of a no-brainer.
Trish has been on medication for a couple of days, so.
But what I say is not false.
I know I know from experience too. So Emma, what other what are you doing now, since you aren't spending as much time now with the Utah Food Services? What is your what project are you working on now, or what jobs are you working on now?
Yeah, so actually, because of the whole Utah Food Services situation, it's kind of been like my driver almost to just like go out of my way to help local businesses and help nonprofit organizations. Right now, I'm a board member for the Utah Recycling Alliance, so I'm doing a lot of work with them, which has been a lot of fun. They have a really, really good team. They focus on everything sustainability. It's not just recycling, like we like to focus on reducing before we get to the recycling. Like recycling is basically the last stop. There are so many steps to take before you decide to try and fix a problem that you've already made. So I'm doing a lot of work with the Utah Recycling Alliance. I'm also doing a lot of work with Twistlab Marketing, which Twistlab specializes in helping local and small businesses compete with larger corporations. So this situation has been really just more of a driver for me to find out how to compete with these larger businesses, which is honestly a lot of fun,
Well, that is awesome. And actually, Ahmad, who was on our show last month, or I guess it's almost 2 months. Oh my gosh, it's like 2 months ago. He's the owner, and he's her boss on that. Or are you like contracted, or is he your official boss right now?
So it's more of a contracted situation, but yes, Ahmad is technically my boss.
Yeah.
I say technically because I do give him a lot of crap. So.
Well, Ahmad went to the Harvard Business School, so we can't give him that much crap.
No, he does know his stuff. He's just.
He can take it.
Yeah. All right. Well, Emma, when we. Oh, sorry. Did you want to add one more thing?
Celise, I just want to say one thing. That
Okay.
I was actually accepted at Harvard.
Nice.
For a summer school course in, I think, coloring. But that way I could say that I actually went to Harvard. I wouldn't qualify it, but unfortunately.
Well, technically, I've done some business, like Harvard mentor management courses and through my work. So technically, I've been to Harvard too. I got certificates to prove it.
Okay, Emma and Lee, have you been to Harvard?
Like the campus, or?
Yes. Yeah. You can technically say you went to Harvard. You didn't go to any classes there, but
no, I actually haven't been to the campus either, so no.
Okay, well.
Did a drive-by.
Okay. Yeah, ZZ Top did a drive-by. Okay.
All right, you guys. Well, we are going to take a break, and when we come back, Emma, I want to know more about what you're doing with the small businesses here in the community.
Absolutely.
All right, welcome back to Coffee Talk Tuesday. My name is Shlee Stevens. I'm here with Trip Mitchell and our wonderful guest, Emma Farr. Thank you again, Emma, for being on our show today. And we just learned a lot of information about some local community nonprofits and the food services and everything like that. But Emma, I want to know what it is that you're doing to help our small communities or our small businesses within the community, because I know that there are a lot of them that are reopening now, and I'm curious as to know if any of them are, if you're helping any of them, or like different types of advice that you may have. For example, my friend who was also on our show a few weeks ago that had to close her bar, she is reopening and hoping that people will know that, or will be able to still get that word out that she's opening. And I mean, I do my little Facebook Live things, and hey, guess where I'm at? But but what other advice maybe do you have, since this is what you do, for our local communities to get back in the game?
Yeah, so a little bit of like what I have been doing. I like, my strengths lie in anything inside of the creative field. I'll like joke with actually Ahmad sometimes. I'll say, well, I'm an artist. Like you like, don't come at me with like your facts and logic. I'm an artist. Like, it's pretty.
I say that in class.
Yeah.
Maybe that's why he introduced us.
Probably. It's like, you're both like obnoxious. You'll get along. He tells me I'm obnoxious all the time. So. But no, so like working with him has been really, really helpful to take the like data side, the facts and logic side, and work it into making something pretty. So it's not just a pretty picture that doesn't make sense. It's something that actually works. I did some volunteer work for Be Wilder Brewing. It's a brand new brewery that just opened up like right before COVID happened. It felt so bad. So my aunt actually reached out to me, and she said they are trying to design some growlers. Can you help out? They don't have, a lot of resources to spend on this. So, I mean, I had a lot of time on my hands, so I said, yeah, sure, I'll design some growlers for them. And so their thank you growlers I actually designed, just to help out. I also do food photography, so I've been kind of donating some of that time and that service to try and help people, entice people to come into their restaurants, because I do feel like the hospitality industry especially is getting hit right now.
Yeah.
And so those are kind of the things that I've been helping with in my downtime. I do not like sitting still for very long, so I always need a new project. But as far as advice for small businesses, I would say don't try to go back to business as usual, because your consumers are going to change. You're going to have to reevaluate the landscape and relook at what it's going to be looking at, because people are getting used to a different form of being, a different lifestyle.
Yeah.
And you really have to pay attention and adapt if you want to survive. I obviously bring it back to your bottom line and look at your numbers, what's working for you, how you're going to stay afloat, because of course it's going to be hard after this, as far as the loss of incomes, loss of numbers goes. But don't cut costs, I would say, without really having a strategy behind it. A lot of people will just knee-jerk reaction cut marketing because it's the easiest thing to cut when things like this happen, and it's not always best for the long term, because marketing is essential for businesses to survive. And yes, I'm in the industry, so I'm a little bit biased, but that's what I would tell small business owners if I were talking to them or helping them.
Wow.
Well, are you surprised, Emma and Shalise, at the amount of firms that are still advertising on TV? So we've gotten in the habit of watching Jeopardy, and there's an excavating company that advertises every night on Jeopardy, and it's like, that might be someone if I were handling marketing for them, I'd cut back. What on TV are businesses doing the right amount, being too aggressive, not aggressive enough? What do you see?
I think it depends on the organization and what their goals are. A lot of, if we're talking small businesses, you're probably not seeing them on TV as much. And that's, where my focus tends to be, just because they don't have the budget for that. It is one of the most expensive ways, if not the most expensive way to advertise. But I think that the ads, the people who are doing it correctly are, in my opinion, are the people who aren't trying to sell so hard right now, and who are trying more to just be supportive of the community and say, we're here for you, giving back where they can. I think that's the best possible branding technique that people could be doing right now, building that loyalty and building that engagement that way is, in my opinion, a lot better than just trying to sell something right now when people don't have money to be buying things.
Emma, that's a great point. And the insurance companies in particular have started giving back to their people because they're not driving as much. And so they're doing rebates back to their customers. And the first time I saw that, I go, wow, that's a great message. It's shot all locally. You can see it's shot handheld, except for the president of the company had a crew come in, but we won't. But it is a message that says, hey, we're with you in the tough times, and even before you ask, we're giving you back some money. That I thought was a great message.
Yeah.
Well, that's one thing that, I love. That's one thing I love to do, is that, I was even thinking, since my book is coming out and this bar, and this is closest local community place that I know right now that I'm trying to help out, but because they're helping me, because I'm doing my fundraiser with them eventually when we can do the fundraiser again. We've had to push it back a couple of months for my nonprofit, but then also I was just trying to think of ways to be able to help them as well. And I'm like, I could do a little mini book signing there and things like that to draw people in and still give them business, but also they would love it because they could help me and give back to me, somebody in their community that does support them. And so it's supporting each other. So that's one of the things that we were thinking of that would be pretty cool. And it's just being creative, right? And finding those ways to just get that message out and be supportive of each other.
Absolutely. I think now more than ever, it's time for people to really try and support each other and find those ways where they can overlap business, like Shalise is saying, where, bringing her book signing to a place to draw people in, because they're not just going to get the book and go, maybe they'll buy some food, or maybe they'll, do some cross-selling there as well. So I really, really love that idea and love that support for the community and that engagement and building. I love.
Yeah.
Well, Emma, you've given me a good idea. And right before literally the COVID virus hit blew up, which was the second week in March, we had gone in to pitch Carl Malone Toyota about being the title sponsor for our Working for Charity show. And we've kind of backed off them. And now, after listening to you for a sec, it almost makes sense to go and sit down with them again and say, hey, this is a unique time. I know business is not there anymore, but what a better time than to have a TV show be filmed at your store when it gets up and running again, profiling charities. Wouldn't that be a great way to just get the name back out there in the community? Obviously, everyone knows Carl Malone was amazing and Carl Malone Toyota, but what a great way to get that name back out there.
Absolutely. Yeah. I love that.
Yeah, I think it's really about right now, I think, with our conversation, it is just helping each other and supporting each other and making sure that we're still safe doing it. It's not like I would want to have like a huge crowd come in and put other people at risk. So there are a lot of precautions. And I know that some people are nervous. I mean, I'm not a person that's really afraid of, I don't live in fear or things like that. But at the same time, I also am a little bit nervous about going out. That's why I was like, I'm going to be the first one when this bar opens, because I'm going to go drink my coffee there alone. And so then by the time I was leaving, then other people were coming in because they do have a new menu and they are making small changes and things. And so they did have a good turnout, but I'm like, I liked being there just by myself, so I wouldn't have to worry about it.
Yeah.
But I think that's something that we really need to make sure that we're careful of. And I know that the bar owner, Crystal, she is they've sanitized the place from roof to floor. She's like, this place has never been cleaner in the whole entire time. They have like tape around the bar, so like all the different things, you can't go within a certain distance, 6 feet of the bar itself. And then the other thing is they can't have the servers collecting the dishes, the empty, whatever, the glasses or the dishes from the tables. It has to be another person, which is another expense if they get busy enough, so that's kind of there's so many things now, but yeah. I mean, it is to keep us safe. And I think too, like, that's a good message to remember, like, people that are starting to go out again, like, just let's be compassionate with each other and understand that we're all figuring this out together and, give each other a break.
Well, and the new company that's doing the food service, if they ever get events back at the Salt Palace, will be great because they don't shower. That way no one's going to get within 6 feet of them.
Exactly. Social distancing at its best.
Yep.
Is that a 6 foot rule too, or is that further?
Well, it depends if you're upwind or downwind. Very good, Trip. Very good. I'm here for Emma, you, but real quick, I actually want to make a point. What would you say, Emma, if you were doing marketing for a gym? And the reason I bring this up is that I had a physical therapist come by the house because I had the hip operation on Monday and I couldn't stay overnight in the hospital because of whatever happened. But I asked a physical therapist, he said if he would go to a gym, and he said no. What advice would you give a gym owner if you were in that position to get people back in?
Honestly, like from that perspective, you can always use branded content, to actually physically show people how well you're doing at keeping things clean, and go behind the scenes and show them like the process on your social media platforms, whatever, to really take those extra steps to reassure people. That's like one way that you could potentially do that. But again, like it would be a lot, you could build a better campaign if you looked at the specific gym and their specific needs and started with the research and then went into all of that. So, like that's just an idea off the top of like my head, or like, like something that you could utilize to do something like that. But it would really depend on what the research yielded. So.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I'm going to offer you to Vasa right around across the street from me because they need some help.
Absolutely. Send them my way.
Well, Emma, thank you so much for taking time today to be on our show. Thank you, Trip, for coming out of your, well, I don't know if you actually came out of your medicine coma for us.
As you can tell, I took a French class.
But for now, we are going to end our show. And next week, we actually have another guest from Salt Lake Community College. One of my other instructors, his name's Ashley Cox, and I'm super excited for him to be on and talk. He's a riot. You're gonna love him, Trip.
Okay. Emma, thanks so much.
Thank you, Emma.
Thank you.
Have a good week, you guys. All right.
Yeah.
Bye.